Well, hey folks, welcome to Talking Filthy Police podcast, where we're always looking to improve the health and well-being of our law enforcement officers. I'm here with Amber. I'm not going to give your last name. You can do that if you choose. But Amber is a nurse here in Tucson, and she's also one of the staff members for 10-4 Medical. So welcome, Amber.
Just a little bit about myself. I'm actually married to a police officer. He's worked for Pima County for over 16 years. So I definitely have a passion for our first responders, making sure that their, overall health and wellness is, a top priority. I know a lot of the first responders, fire, police, EMS, even nurses in general, we're not the best advocates for our own health care. We're great at caring for other people, but we're not the greatest at caring for ourselves. And my husband's a perfect example. Like, he's never really had a primary care physician. He has asthma and things, but he's, calling the favor, can you get me a refill on my albuterol, so he's never really had like a primary care physician. Over the last year and a half, I was working at a medical clinic called, it was Well America for many, many years, and then they switched over to Evolve. And really their focus was mostly fire. They did do police as well, did firefighter physicals, AZ post exams, in the occupational health setting. So it was very kind of pigeonholed. And one thing that when I started working over there, I said, we got to do something different for our first responders. They need more than just this occupational health setting. They need primary care. They need mental health resources. And unfortunately, that company with COVID just went under very quickly. And so when I was kind of, interviewing around looking for a new job, I met with the owners of who own 10-4 Medical. And I told him, I was talking about what I did, and he said, you seem so passionate about it, like, why are you leaving? And I said, well, this business is closing, and so I'm looking for something else. And he said, if you could do anything, what would you do? And I said, I really think we need to have a one-stop shop for our first responders where they can get their occupational health, they can get primary care, and they can get mental health. And one building, a safe building that only services first responders, because you and I both know, especially with mental health, is that they're not going to walk into a clinic where there's maybe somebody they arrested for mental health crises or something along those lines, or even in primary care setting, who's sitting in the seat next to me. Is it someone I've arrested? Is it someone I Narcaned yesterday? And so one thing I know is that they need a safe environment to feel comfortable in, to come and get cared for. And so I really wanted to provide a company that does all the things that they need in one place, and providing that place only services first responders. And so the owner was like, well, let's do it. And that was in end of January, and we were servicing people by March. So our clinic does occupational health. So we do, we have contracts with employers like Rincon Valley Fire, we have Aber Valley Fire, Nogales Police and Fire, Palominos, a lot of them. I'm trying to think of all of them. Rio Rico Fire is another one. Sonoita Fire is another one. So we do firefighter physicals. We do on-the-job injury care. We do AZ post exams. We also provide primary care. And what that means is everything to do with your primary care, acute and chronic disease management, taking care of, if you got hypertension, if you got high cholesterol, if you have diabetes, if you have asthma, anything like that. And then in addition to that, we have staff for mental health. So we have a therapist who strictly only sees first responders. We can get people in, if they're not in crises, they just want to establish mental health, we can get them in within 1 to 2 weeks. If there's a crisis involved, we've actually had a few come up. Our therapist has been amazing at getting somebody in very quickly. We do have access to psychiatrists as well. But part of that is, unfortunately, just mental health in general is it's really hard to get providers. It's, even providers, it's just really hard. And so they're really backed up too. So then the great thing about our clinic too with primary care is that we have that bridge option. So we have a primary care provider who can get someone started on something for anxiety or depression or anything like that, to kind of bridge them until they can see the psychiatrist. So it's really providing that inclusive shop just for first responders, and we also service their spouses. And so what makes it great and unique is it's that safe environment. You can go in there as a retired police officer and know that the person sitting next to you is a first responder. And it's not someone that maybe you arrested or, Narcan the day before. So it's to provide that safe environment for them, to get them the health that the care that they need for their health and wellness.
That's pretty cool. I'm looking at your website, 10-4medical.com, and you guys have, it looks like, a fairly decent amount of staff members just on the website. So, and you provide so much more, like blood work and your primary care physicians type of stuff. So basically, police officers, first responders, firefighters, they just need to see if you guys are in network with their insurance plan. And
we take all major insurances. We even take access plans. We have a lot of volunteer fire departments who, unfortunately, because of budgeting or whatever in their income, they're actually on access. We've had a few firefighters who are on access. So we do take access plans. We take Medicare. We take we're contracted with all the major ones. Aetna is the big one for Pima County. Cigna is a big one for the city of Tucson, a lot of the city players, Blue Cross Blue Shield, United Healthcare, all the major plans we take. So usually what we do is on our website there is a form, and it says, right now I'm trying to get them to change it, but it says, I think referral form or something, and it just kind of gives you the area to fill in all your information and put in your insurance information. You zip that over to us. We send it to our department who verifies your benefits and everything, and creates a chart for you, and then once you're in our system as a patient, you're there and you can be seen for anything. The other nice thing is that, like I said, we do have on-site labs, so we are able to draw labs on-site. You don't have to go to another outside lab. I mean, you still can. There's, you can go to LabCorp and request. All of our staff pretty much have some sort of our medical advisor, Dr. Brian McCurry, he's big in Phoenix. He deals with a lot of the Glendale fire departments, and he kind of oversees the clinic, and he comes down and things like that. And then Dr. Lindell, she has a long history of being in the, she worked with Well America for pretty much since entire existence. So she has a long history with working with fire and police, and she's one of our AZ Post physicians. And her family comes from police and fire. And then my office manager, Stephanie Valencia, her husband's been a firefighter for over a long time. He's with the city of Tucson. Like I said, my husband's a police officer. So pretty much everybody in our clinic has some sort of personal connection to with the first responder community, which I really think, dealing with first responders, fire, police, EMS, you guys have a very unique personality. I'm just going to put it nicely. You guys have to, you have enough knowledge. You're not just the general population. You guys are a little bit more educated, especially the people who have the medic and fire backgrounds. They're not dumb people, but they also, they like that kind of, kick you in the butt mentality. They don't want to be babied and treated like a child. And so that's one thing I love is we have the best patients. I can joke around with all of our patients. We give each other a hard time. And so I think it's a kind of a playful, fun relationship too, because it's you can't beat it. It's the best patients you could possibly care for.
Let's talk about patients for a little bit. Has it you kicked it off in March? Have you gotten a good response? Are you growing and increasing?
The thing that's unique about us is we have a very specific patient population. We're first responders and their spouses. So it's actually a little challenging marketing something like this because you don't want to just advertise to anybody because, again, there's that safety net of providing that safe, secure clinic location. You want people to know about it, but you kind of don't at the same time. So it is, we're navigating, trying our best to advertise it. We also are applying for or put in for a contract with the city of Tucson. So we're trying to be mindful of, not like you're trying to advertise, but not advertise because you're going through this like RFP bid process with the city and, you know, playing that game. So while we're waiting for that, we're trying to be mindful and being, you know, appropriate with how we're trying to market our clinic.
Yeah, which is why I wanted to kind of get what I got first turned on to, I think, a similar organization, and I have not had a chance to speak to anyone. HeartFit for Duty, I think it is, up in Mesa. So very, the way it's explained to me, very similar premise. All the staff are, you know, former first responders or in the family of first responders, and they do the exact same thing for that. So then someone's like, hey, did you know we have one in Tucson? And I was like, no, I didn't. And that was where you guys came into play. So I think it's really cool that, you know, we can kind of, you know, our audience is heavily law enforcement based, and we can kind of get that word out there like, hey, here it is. You got to take the action of getting in there and getting, you know, your blood tests or go see the doctor for whatever you need. It's important. So hopefully this will help you folks do that and continue to grow as a good place for first responders to go for treatment. So just curious, without exposing too much of medical stuff, what is the biggest thing that cops and firefighters come in there for?
Cholesterol issues, blood pressure issues.
Yeah.
Everybody's heart disease is a really big thing with fire police, and really, you know, like something that I explain to a lot of people, you know, heart disease, obesity, like all that stuff is so intertwined with like your stress levels, your sleep cycle, your nutrition levels, and what do fire police and EMS eat? We all eat fast, processed foods, quick on the go. We're not good at eating the right things. And so that's actually a huge thing that I see. Like, I jokingly keep saying I have the COVID panels because everybody coming back with their labs are just, their cholesterols are through the roof. We got people who are all borderline pre-diabetic, and everybody's blood pressure is up. And so everybody's stressed, they're eating like crap, they haven't been going to the gym. And so I definitely see that a lot. And one thing I actually have noticed, which is interesting, is we've been seeing a lot of low testosterone in the fire and police, which we just kind of, we're moving that market to, like, we're going to be doing a testosterone clinic for guys at our clinic. It's just been interesting. Like, I've never seen that many people have low testosterone. Usually it's even kind of taboo in the sense of, like, most primary care don't really even check for it. But I've been checking more for it because, one, I found that a lot of fire and police are already on testosterone. And then so I was like, you know, why aren't we, you know, taking care of these guys, helping them if they have low testosterone versus them going to these testosterone clinics and trying to, again, keep that care all under one roof. So as I've been starting to establish people with primary care, it's been one of the things I've been checking on a lot of the guys, because they all say how fatigued they are. They're all saying, you know, there's a lot of things with their mental well-being, their, you know, anxiety, depression, and all that stuff is so intertwined with your testosterone. And so one thing I have been noticing is, as I've been checking, is everybody's either, you know, like in the insurance world, you have to be less than a certain percent for your insurance to cover it, and that's why so many of these testosterone clinics exist, because the insurance world is very strict about replacing testosterone. But we have so many people who are like really borderline with their testosterone, and, you know, helping replace that can improve their fatigue levels, their, you know, depression, their mood, their anxiety levels. So that's another thing that we've been incorporating in our clinic.
So originally, that's how when I started the podcast, we were doing different things, but in my conversations with the cop, we talked about anxiety and mental health, and it was kind of interesting because he said, hey man, have you ever had your testosterone checked? And I was like, no. He goes, do you feel tired? Do you feel exhausted even when you first wake up? And he went through all these things. And I always thought, and this is kind of, you know, off the subject, like it should reflect in your sex drive, but it doesn't always there either. You can still have low testosterone and still have other things going on. But what I found was it was connected to a lot of other issues, or the source of other issues. And so while I'm still a novice at it, I found it really interesting how many cops actually have low T. Well, firefighter, I don't know firefighters. I don't work on them, obviously, or work with them much, but I'd like to. But I know for the cops that we've been talking to, low T is a direct connection to anxiety, and at least in my opinion, there's some correlation there to anxiety and stress and just your mental health. So that's pretty awesome that you brought that up. One, heart disease, I think that's really, really important, and I think the low T for the men is super important, and I think it all leads that road right down towards the mental health, your anger, your anxiety, and all of that kind of stuff. So I'm glad cops are getting in there. People are getting in there to see you for that stuff, and it's fairly treatable, right? Both heart disease and the testosterone. There are things that you can do if the cops are listening. If you put your foot forward and actually take the steps to do it, and not wait a year, until your wife's ready to choke you out, or your husband, whatever the case is. But
so many of those complications from heart disease, all of that can be, and a lot of stuff is very easily, like, one thing I was talking to a lot of people, I was like, look, I get it. Like, I'm someone who eats, quick, on the go, oftentimes because I work a lot, I have kids, we got sports, we got this, you're always jumping around. And so one of the things I do talk to a lot of the guys about is just even making smarter choices when you go out. And I always give the example of, like, hey, I go to a burger joint, I tell myself, am I going to let myself have the bun or the fries, and which one do I prefer the most? And I always prefer the fries. I'm a fries girl. So I will have them, lettuce wrap my burger. So I'm taking away the carb content from the burger. And I'll do, like, extra veggies and maybe double patty versus single, just to get more protein. And so I make myself choose, and then I only eat, like, half the fries, not the whole fry. And the other thing I try to educate people on, too, is, like, just in pure knowledge, is we don't really think about it because, it's just what we've gotten used to and accustomed to is our portion sizes and what we're eating. I'm reading a really good book on from a cardiologist who said, over the course of the last so many years, like, our serving sizes of what we're eating is 8 times what our recommendations are. So in one serving, what we're used to, what we should be eating versus what we tend to do, and you really think about it. You go out to eat and you get all that. The other day we went to Texas Roadhouse, and my husband and I got this, like, appetizer platter and had the potatoes and fries and wings and all this stuff, and then you get your salad and your basket of bread and then your meal, and I'm like, I can't even imagine the calories I just consumed. And we do it so often and we don't really think about it. And so a lot of our issues that we have is directly related to what we're eating, the lack of exercise as well. And so I even tell people, I'm like, I'm not that kind of provider that tells you can never eat out, you can never have your fries, you can never have your burger or your beer, but it's just learning how to, like I said, choose that, fries over the bun or bun over the fries, add more veggies, just different choices that you can make when you are out. So, and that's a big thing. And I think a lot of people are so used to going to a provider and being told, oh, you got to stop doing this, you have to, and it's, I think, recognizing as a provider, like, your guys' work, how your schedules are, and realizing it's not the easiest picture. And so it's really learning how to help you guys make smarter choices when you are working to help minimize that. So
you can actually look at the lab results and look at these things, look at the diet, and kind of put them on a plan. And like you said earlier, you should be able to tell the cop point blank, get your shit together or this is going to kill you, and you're not going to be able to enjoy your retirement if you don't get your shit together. And
I tell guys that all the time. I'm like, you're working all so hard to, like, go, and then, like, these people who, unfortunately, like, even some of these people who are passing, like, right before they're going to hit retirement from a heart attack, and I think firefighters are in a little bit better position than police just because they have those kind of firefighter physicals, so they get pretty extensive workup. Like in the firefighter physicals, we do, cardiac stress tests. They get an EKG every year. They get vision, audio, complete lab workup, and a physical every single year as part of their conditions of employment. Now, police officers, they get their initial AZ post-exam, and they get hired, and then there's very few departments, and there's none that I know of here in Tucson that require continued physical fitness of some sort for their primary care.
In your professional opinion, should cops be held to that standard too if you want to be employed as a peace officer?
Yes.
Because, and I know there's all kinds of other things going on. I know unions, I know the agency I worked at, the union was in big discussions because the city and the agency was talking about mandated health checkups, either physical or mental. I'm for it 100%. If they're going to pay for it and they're going to put you on duty to go do it, and then if the results say, Dan, you're too fat to be out there on duty, we need to get you back in shape, then so be it. It is what it is. Yeah. The unfortunate I was going to say the unfortunate part, the comments that I keep hearing when people say was they don't have the right to tell you to do that. Well, maybe not in some aspects, but they kind of do if you're going to stay employed, and they kind of are for everyone's benefit. Now there are some complications, especially right now with government telling people what to do with the vaccine and all this other stuff. But I do believe in my heart that it should be highly encouraged, if not mandated, to have some kind of physical fitness at the minimum every single year, or whatever we can get. Let's start every 5 years, whatever. I don't know, but
yeah, even if you have to slowly kind of work your way back to that. The fire department, they're kind of based off of tiers. So we have 4 tiers at our clinic for fire department. Tier 1's kind of your gold standard, where you're trying to always achieve in your health and wellness. So it looks at your blood pressure, your blood sugar, it looks at your cholesterol panel, it looks at how you do on the cardiac stress test, your pulmonary function testing, all that stuff. It's tied to a tier. And then there's tier 4, which is actually where I can, as a provider, make a recommendation to remove you from service. Because and there's been times where I've had to remove a firefighter because his blood pressure was 200 over 115, and he wasn't safe to be on the fire truck. You know what I mean? So I don't take it lightly to pull someone from work, because I get it. This is your job. This is how you support your family, how you pay your bills. But usually the great thing about our clinic is, for example, that person who he had no primary care, and at that time I wasn't working for this clinic, but when I had pulled that firefighter from his service, he had no primary care person to get into. So I picked up a phone call. I called our cardiologist partner and I said, hey, this guy needs to get in. His blood pressure, he's off the truck until we can get his blood pressure under control. And my cardiologist got him in within 24 hours, got him on medication, got this guy back to work very quickly. So when we do pull someone from service, I don't just pull them and go, sorry, figure it out. I'm going to do everything in my power to make sure you get what you need to do as quick as possible so you can get back to work. Because it doesn't do you any good if you're going to work with a blood pressure of 200 over 115 and stroking out on someone, and then you're becoming another victim in the situation. So,
yeah, great points. While we're not advocating just yanking people out of their assignments, we are advocating intervene immediately so that we can save their life, hopefully, or do something to increase. Yeah. Well, awesome. I'm really glad that you guys have got this going. I think we're 20, 30 years behind the curve, but we're here, and that's good, and you're doing an amazing job. You do a lot of other stuff supporting cops, obviously, because you have one in your home, and it's important to you. So, proud to know you that you're doing all this work, and hopefully you can keep it up. Any parting words for our listeners, cops or cop supporters that we have out there about you or about the program?
Just, to take your physical and mental well-being, make it a priority. I know it's so easy to put it on the back burner, and again, like you say, I'm going to get to it. And it isn't until you're having that heart attack, you're having that stroke, you're in the hospital, you're being pulled from the truck or something before so many people take it seriously. And it's so important. I know, I get it. I don't like going to the doctor either. But it's really, really important to, keep on top of that. And once I tell people once a year, that's all I'm asking for.
Take one day, once a year. Make yourself not a priority, the priority. You can't take care of your family. You can't take care of the citizens you serve. You can't take care of your agency if you're about to have a heart attack and die, or you have other things going on. So make yourself the priority. I call it put your mask on first before you put it on the child. That never made sense until someone explained it to me, and then I was like, that's very important. Put your mask on first. Thank you for everything that you do, Amber. Keep rocking. I would love to come down there and see you guys. Maybe drop off some coffee for your physicians down there. Make sure you're fully caffeinated.
Yeah.
Anyways, thank you for your time.
Thanks for having me.
Keep rocking. Hopefully your husband's safe out there, and we'll talk to you soon.
Have a good one. Thanks so much.